Hey everybody! Welcome back to another NerdSync YouTube live stream. I'm doing so good at these, and we're gonna talk about my Invincible video that I just made, and we have a special guest this time around. First of all, please let us know in the chat if you can hear everything okay. But we're continuing the fun times of special guests. We got Nando V Movies is here. How's it going?
Yeah. Hey everybody. It's great. I'm very excited to talk about Invincible. I watched it all when it came out, and then also after I watched the video, I was like, you know what? I want to see all the fight scenes again. So I did that thing where you go on YouTube and just sit down on your couch on your phone and just like watch 2 full hours of just all the fight scenes, and it's pretty good.
It's
A lot of
pretty
fun.
good. I
Yeah,
will
what's up?
say, just for the sake of it, and I should have told you this, but we can do like a couple minutes of non-spoilery stuff if we want
Oh,
to do
sure.
if we want to do that. But we're gonna get into some Invincible spoilers, I'm sure. Had you read the comic before the show came out?
So I did not. But I was aware of what is the thing that happened, like the gist of it.
Yeah.
Um, so I wasn't spoiled, but I think that helps because without getting into any specifics, I was able to be like, "Hey, watch this show. You're gonna like it." And also, if it's a little slow in the beginning, that's kind of the point. But then eventually, you'll be like, "I see where this is going. This will be
Hmm.
cool." So yeah, knowing that helped a lot, and it just got me really excited for it because it's one of those things that everybody who loves, like everybody I know that's like a big comic fan, just respects Invincible like crazy. Now it's like
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite
It's
books. So
yeah.
anyway,
It's
I've
one of
started
those
reading it
where
since then.
yeah. I'm excited to pick back up on it. I had mentioned this kind of a little bit in the video and a little bit on Twitter, but like it was never something that the comic I never got super into. I had read the first like volume and into the second volume. And like the first volume, I think reads like a pretty standard sort of superhero story. Like it's good, but
Mm.
it just didn't grab me at all. And then obviously the second volume is like, oh, okay, stuff's happening now. Interesting. But I never quite got around to reading all the way through it. So potentially that is a thing that I will do soon. But at the same time, it's like I love the show so much that I
Hmm.
don't want to read so far ahead that because I'm not watching it by myself. I'm watching it with my partner. So like I don't want to have this knowledge inside of my head that I'm trying not to spoil
Right.
for her. And so it's just like I don't know how much forward can I read before I get to potential season 2, spoilers.
Yeah. The
Oh
nice thing
man.
about it is like it's very I feel like the show, from what I understand about, well, not from what I understand, I kind of was told this originally when the show started. It was like you're gonna it follows the same, it hits the same beats as the book does, but with a very different pacing, and like you're getting not
Yeah.
like front loaded with information, but you're not, it isn't the slow burn that you would expect. So um I think you could maybe go, I'm going to read the book. And because I think I've heard it described as a second draft, where he was saying, Robert Kirkman was saying, like, this is, if I got to tell the story again, I think I'd move a couple of events around and stuff like that. So it almost feels like it's a separate piece of media.
Yeah.
But like all the big stuff, every time somebody kills somebody else, that'll probably hit around the same way. And you'll be able to see the
Yeah.
buildup from far away, where it's like, oh, that's this guy
I
and
see where
he's
this is
up to
going.
this, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to know in the chat if you guys have watched. Have you even watched the show yet? Have you read the comic? I don't know. I've tried to get people to watch the show just because I spoil a lot of it in my video, and I've heard at least a handful of people say that I have successfully gotten them to watch it, and they're fans of it. So that's good. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a good show, and
Everybody I have turned onto it has been like pleased. Some of them have been like, this is a little bit more than I was expecting.
mhm.
But everybody else is like, this is pretty entertaining, and this is different enough from everything else out there that I feel like I'm getting, like, this is an experience worth having,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is big.
It's very fun. It's actually funny because immediately after we finished the first season, we went and watched I had not seen The Boys before, which is like another Amazon series about
Yep.
superheroes, where the Superman character is kind of bad. And so I had not
Mhm.
watched it before, and so I was like, maybe this will like kind of scratch that itch that Invincible kind of left now that it's finished that first season. And I don't know, it had I watched it before Invincible, I think I would have liked it, but because of just how much that I like the cartoon of Invincible, I was like, this show seems fine. And we never really finished. We never went over to season 2. I don't know if you've seen that show at all.
I have, yeah. So I think the best thing about the boys is I've read the comics of the boys and I hate them. I think they are, and it's if you've seen the show, you recognize kind of the differences right away. Um, in that it's just so much more like it's so much more subtle, but it's also taking a very different it's got a very different perspective about like I think the cool thing about the boy is that it seems very much about superhero media
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of the Disney, Marvel, all that stuff, and DC for sure, because there's some bits in season 2 where like the characters are literally filming a movie about them, and
Yeah.
and they hit a bunch of those beats, but it's very so I think it's tough with the world building of that because it before the Invincible, I think the boys did some really awesome world building where there'd just
Mm-hmm.
be some guy and it's like, oh yeah, that's their Daredevil, that's fun, and like that's
Right.
their
Yeah.
Green Arrow, and then Invincible showed up and it was, I think, way more. It took a lot more big swings with that kind of stuff that makes it way more fun to watch, and more fun to just go, I guess this guy is supposed to be like their, like Blastar, or
Yeah.
this guy's supposed to be their Gambit, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I think I like the pastiches in Invincible a little bit more. But I mean, Homelander's really fun as a character, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you read the books, you see the things they changed, and you're like, oh god, this
Mm-hmm.
is so much better. Like, and so maybe it was like the low expectations, but I think the boys is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's pretty fun. I I just don't know if we're gonna muster the strength up to watch season 2 unless someone tells me that season 2 is like really really
yeah,
good. But who
it's
knows?
tough. I think season 2 might be better than season 1 in a lot of like.
Okay, all right.
I think it is better. I think so. The big selling point, besides that, at the end of season 1, not even spoilers, but just like the characters, it's almost like another one of those shows where it's like, okay, now the characters can finally start doing the thing that they keep talking about. Like you
Yeah.
have a fully, activated version of the boys and a fully activated version of Homelander, and I think that season 2 it gets at a lot of that. It's pretty fun, but also Aya Cash plays the new member of the Seven, who
Hmm.
comic readers would recognize the name of, but she's very different as like she's a gender swapped character, and there's a lot of other stuff going on where she's been
Interesting.
re-realized in the current day, but
Hmm.
yeah, she's the new supervillain who or superhero who might have some villainy uh, in her background, and it kind of
Cool.
gels with Homelander in interesting ways. So
Okay.
yeah, she's a lot of fun. Besides that, yeah, I don't know. I think if the first season didn't completely grab you, um, the second season probably about the same.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some people in the chat saying that Aya Cash is reason enough to watch season 2. So
she's very good, and
yeah.
she's yeah, it's funny because her character is like a Storm analog. Well, actually, she's not even really a Storm analog. I guess she's was a character that uses electricity powers, like a lightning lad kind of character.
Okay.
Um, but so that isn't super important, but it's just a kind of a fun addition to those guys. There's some characters in the boys that like I don't think we'll ever see at this point,
Hmm.
because the comic is a lot more out there in a way like Invincible is, but they have
Yeah.
like a spin-off show coming out that's like their
Oh,
X-Men, and
interesting.
yeah, there's going to be a bazillion boys things in the future. It made, I think it's like probably Amazon's most watched show, or it's up there.
We
So
gotta change that. We gotta make it Invincible,
that's
in my
true. Yeah.
opinion. I just really like Invincible a whole lot. I think the cartoon specifically, I think is very very good. Part of what I even talked about in my video was about how I really like that it is done in a very recognizable, like almost early 2000s style, like superhero cartoon. Like I said, I got
Hmm.
massive like Static Shock vibes from it.
Yeah.
Specifically because it's dealing with like a teen superhero. And in this city fighting all these other interesting characters. I don't know, I thought it was very very good, and I thought using that and not trying to turn it into a live action show, and
Hmm.
sticking with it as like a cartoon, I think is a really really smart choice, especially because it just seems like you can do so much more with a cartoon on a budget than you can with a live action show. You can have all of these wild characters that are in the first season, and all these you know ridiculous powers
Hmm.
that are very very cool, and it all just fits in and all looks great because it's all just lines and colors and it's not trying to
Yeah.
like CGI anything. I think that's a really smart idea.
I'd love to see like, not I'd love to see a live action Invincible. I think it would take a live action Invincible to get some people completely on board. And I do,
Mm-hmm.
there's part of me that's like, man, if this was, it probably wouldn't be Stephen Yoon and J.K. Simmons, just because they're not quite that. Stephen Yoon's a little old, and J.K. Simmons is not a humongous muscle man, although
Mm.
he's had his moments in the gym. We've seen that one picture
That's
um,
right.
from when they were going to make him in the Batman movie, and then they were like, actually, your Batman movie isn't happening. But yeah, congrats on
I got
being
shredded for no reason. I got
yeah,
shredded just for my own personal health.
and some Instagram thirsting, I
That's
assume.
true.
So that's
Yeah.
that's always nice. But yeah, so I feel like if people saw those actors in a trailer, they'd be like, oh wow, I like them a lot. This is something that I've got to really like take seriously,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I think you can see. Like, I think there's animated stuff with J.K. Simmons. He's been in so many, bit parts in
Yeah.
cartoons and stuff, that I feel like people might go like, oh, this is just another one of those. Like, this isn't something I need to really,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to sink my teeth into this as much, which is a
Mm-hmm.
shame. But there's
Yeah.
there's so much talent on this show. It's wild.
I mean, Sandra Oh
Yep.
is in it. It's so good. I mean that's I'm coming off of, I don't know if I've tweeted a lot about this, but I'm in the process of watching all of Grey's Anatomy.
I've seen you
Um,
tweeting about it. It's
so I don't. It's mostly just because it's a very long show, and we started it when like the pandemic first hit the U.S., and
yeah.
we were just like, well, like Emily had seen all of it, but she's like, I'll do a rewatch, and there are I think 17 seasons of it, so we're just
Oh
watching
my
through all of
gosh.
it. So we're almost caught up, but obviously, big Sandra Oh fan just from Grey's Anatomy alone. Very
Have
good.
you watched Killing Eve?
We are
That's the shit.
we have seen one season of Killing Eve and bits and pieces of the second season. We gotta finish it.
Yeah.
Another fantastic show. Oh man, yeah, she's great in that for
Yeah,
sure.
she's maybe the only character I feel like that you could carry over. Just like, she kind of has the same, probably because she doesn't have to be a humongous muscle man like, J.K.
Right?
Simmons
Yeah.
would have to. You could probably plop her into a live action anime like
Hmm.
adaptation, work just about as well.
Yeah.
Although I'd love to see the other characters try. I'd love to see
Yeah.
Jason Mantzoukas pretend to be like a young 20
A
something,
teenager. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would be quite good. I every time
Yeah.
I hear his voice pop up in anything, I'm just like, love this guy. So
Yeah,
good.
it's so
He's just
fun.
here to wreck things and just make everyone's lives miserable. Uh, so good.
Yeah, originally I don't think I was on board with that casting, just because I was like, this guy is such a almost like over the top, not like dweeb, but
Yeah.
I didn't buy. I guess I did. I couldn't quite place what Rex Blood was supposed to be. Like I saw the show and I was like, is he supposed to be like a hunk? And he's like the, or is he like the Cyclops of this team where he's just like a straight
Hmm.
laced kind of, and then he starts acting like such a jerk. And then I'm like, does anybody take this guy seriously? Like, is he kind of the jubilee of this team where everybody's like, yeah,
Hmm.
Explode, you come in and do your fireworks and then
Right.
you can go home. Not to slander Jubilee because she is cool and has done cool things, but it took a while, but he really grew on me. And yeah, he's very fun.
Oh yeah. I
Um,
mean, even the a whole bit that he plays in Robot's story as well is very
mm,
interesting.
yeah,
Um,
it's wild.
Monster Girl specifically is one of the cooler like give and take sort of powers that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Where if you've not seen it, she's a character that can turn into this big kind of hulking monster, but when she transforms back, she becomes younger than she was at the start. So she's like in her 20s, but she looks like a child.
Now,
Um,
my question with her is, I've been
yeah.
wondering about this. I think in the comics, it kind of makes it a little bit clearer. If she does age, like she ages normally, if she didn't use her
Mm-hmm.
powers for 10 years, she would become a 20, whatever, like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so she could live forever,
Could
there's
live forever.
nothing stopping her.
Who knows?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I have a couple. We can get into more spoilery territory now because I've got a couple questions or a couple things from the chat.
Oh, sure.
Cosmos said, like, with all these evil Superman, would love to see a Boy Scout Superman again. There were other comments similar to that. Daniel said, please, no more evil Superman. I'm sick of that.
Hmm.
It works for Injustice and Snyderverse, but please just stop it. Do you have thoughts about that? Because obviously that's a big part of this show and this
Yeah.
comic is spoiler warning, I guess, from here on out. If you
Hmm.
haven't seen Invincible or read the comic or anything, really, you just need to watch, I think, the first episode of the
Yeah.
cartoon. That kind of gives you the gist of everything that you need to know. But we're gonna get into some spoiler territory now. So yeah, big twist. Omni Man looks like a good old Superman Boy Scout on the outside, kind of a tyrannical monster in reality. Just murderous, kills anyone and everything that's in his way. Yeah.
Yeah, the pitch, it's like kind of what if Superman, instead of being from a dying alien race, was part of a conquering alien race of some kind of Supermen
Yeah.
who go through the galaxy and exert their will over everybody. We don't get
Yeah.
a lot of the specifics of how yet, but we know that that's his deal. Um,
Yeah. He's
and
the kind of idea behind Omni Man and Viltrum is uh like we're going to almost like rule over everyone and but for their own benefit, like we can help
right,
them become bigger and stronger and progress further, but at the cost of lots of their lives. Like we don't care about humanity or any of these other, alien races out there, to the point where we care about the individual. We care about the progress of everyone, and so that is going to become very deadly. We're gonna sacrifice a lot of people to progress forward, and yeah, it's very much like a utilitarian view of like, well, I don't care how many
yeah,
people are going to die, as long as at the end of the day things are better off for the people that survived, and so that's not a great mentality of like, I'll
no,
cast everyone else aside, sort of a thing. So that's kind of his ideology, I suppose. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
what
feel
are
like
your
as
yeah.
one of the evil Superman clones, if we're calling him that, I think he's definitely, I'd say he's one of the more fully realized ones as a character and just with a as a pitch. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I like Homelander in the show, and I like I said, not a huge fan of those books. And in the books, he's just a like bad guy, like kind of a. They're all the heroes in the boys are just all kind of idiots too. Whereas in this, he's got a lot more going on. He feels like a more kind of, evil, plays it almost like an evil celebrity that can get whatever he
Yeah.
wants, which I think is fun. So I guess there's like a pitch there, but
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of the my I'm more deferential, or I'll give you a pass if you're writing a different Superman and that's the point of your story.
Mhm.
If that's like, if you're an independent creator, or even like if you're Marvel and you're making a Hyperion and you just want to kind of play around with the Superman a little bit, it's the fact that
Yeah.
Warner Brothers keeps doing it that kind of not bugs me, but it's like half of their Superman in
Yeah.
TV and comics and film and games. It's like, what if he was evil? And I guess that's the part that gets me a little just like, all right, but you guys are the Superman guys. You guys should probably, you're the ones that could do the real one really well. But
Yeah, it's almost gotten to the point where rather than seeing all these other characters or all these other takes as like evil Superman, as soon as we get one story of like Superman being good and heroic, it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's like that they're doing like a good take on all these other things.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like
right.
it's almost reversed a little bit.
What if
I did get
Homelander was nice?
yeah, what
Yeah,
if the next Superman movie is like, oh man, they made like they made Homelander a nice guy. That's interesting. No, I
yeah,
did see a lot of people in my comments say that the Superman and Lois show
yes.
is a good Superman, and I've not watched it yet, but it is on my to watch list that I'm persuading Emily to watch with me, just because we like the idea of a good Superman. So hopefully it will play out very much in that favor. Yeah. Have you seen it?
I think it does. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's got a lot of the things that I don't think it necessarily feels like a reaction to the criticisms of the evil Superman in media that's such a big part of, like, you know, especially the big stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
these big tentpole movies and shows. But it definitely has it's fun because it's not like he's a naive child or something, which I think is one of the ways you could do it. And I feel like when we get a movie, like if they reboot Superman, I think that's how we'll get a nice wholesome Superman, is he'll be in his, you know, early 20s maybe, and just like
Yeah.
he'll not like get it beat out of him by like Lex Luthor in the world, but there'll be a little bit of that, and he'll be like, no, you see, it's American. But I like that he's an older Superman, and he kind of, it feels like, not that he got over cynicism necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
like he's got a more I don't know, it feels like you're like, this guy knows stuff. He's been through it, and him coming to this conclusion
Mm-hmm.
can't be just like, yeah, but he's just a kid. Of course he thinks that. Because I feel like that's what all the characters like Invincible, where it's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get it. I'm an adult and I'm telling you that
Yeah. Yeah.
you should kill everybody if you want. It's like, yeah, there's more complexity than that. However, that
Yeah.
show does have an evil Superman as like
I've
a
heard that.
kind of
Yeah.
plot point, but it's not really a big thing. It's almost like the new, just like if you want to get the kids hooked, you put an evil Superman in the trailer, just so
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh man,
Oh,
it's naughty, it's
interesting.
got an edge to it.
Oh, yeah. Whoa,
Yeah,
Superman, but bad?
it's
Interesting. I've not seen this
it's wild.
before.
Yeah.
No,
So
we've got I just a chat from
mhm.
I'm gonna mispronounce everyone's names in the chats. I'm so sorry. Etienne Rodriguez, who says, "So weird that a good Superman is now a refreshing take on the character."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's like a line or a hill or something, I think we're crossing the threshold into
Mhm.
hopefully studios realizing that they can make a character that's nice. You can make a character that's nice, you
Well, it's
know?
funny because, like, I think almost all the rest of them are. There's like, I feel like with Thor and with Captain America,
Yeah.
we've gotten, and even Shazam within their own studio, we've gotten characters that the um have that vibe without necessarily. They just can't be Superman.
Hmm.
That's the problem. But you can have like a try to think of something else. Like Vision is a good one, who's like just super hopeful, optimistic. You
Yeah.
know, he wants to save people. Like that's totally accepted by audiences as long as it isn't Superman. That is the thing that. But I think we will accept that. That's just the
Hmm.
last step we need to take over that. Like crossing over from edgy
Yeah.
counterculture heroes to more, just fun, nice heroes.
Yeah. I think Alyssa Ballard says the Omni Man is evil Superman feels like it was a thing that was a refreshing idea when the comic first came out, but now because there are so many,
Yeah.
the TV shows coming out in this era where there's so many, it maybe doesn't feel as innovative. That might be true. I don't actually know. I wasn't reading the comics as they were coming out. I
Yeah,
read.
when was Invincible? When did it launch?
That's a good question. As
Was
we
it like the
all
mid
Google it.
2000s? Yeah, like I feel like there's a bazillion issues, so it could be any. I would guess like
Yeah.
2008
It
maybe,
was
but
2003 is when it first started coming
wow.
out. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
then it was super fresh. We were just
pretty
getting into
pretty
like
fresh
Brandon
idea.
Routh as Superman and
Yeah.
Tom Welling on Smallville. Like those were our two big Superman. And then we had the cartoons, which were also
Yeah.
super like just this is what Superman is. He's pretty. Sometimes he gets a little mad, but mostly he's cool.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point then, that maybe
yeah,
that it's just it might not feel as fresh just because of when the cartoon is coming out.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably true of the. I feel like that timeline probably works for the boys too. I don't know when the
Yeah.
first issue was, but it feels like an early 2000s comic.
Mhm.
And then the other one, which I've never read, is Superior. Is that the comic? Which I believe is another evil Superman
Yes.
comic. And I wonder if there was just a flight of evil Superman. Because also
Yeah.
you've got stuff like Red
Huh.
Sun and the like books written by DC that were the evil Superman books, and you've got Injustice, which I want to say was 2010, 2011.
So there
Um,
must have just been like a
yeah.
short, couple years span with all this stuff. I did read Superior. Totally forgot about it until you said it just now. That
Is that an
was
evil Superman? I really don't know the details on that
I
one.
don't remember.
Is it Mark Millar? Because then it probably is an evil
Yes.
Superman. Yeah.
My memory of it is that it wasn't an evil Superman, but more like
Oh,
a. But maybe I'm just conflating it with something else.
because
Um,
because Millar also made whatchamacallit.
yeah,
Oh
because
God,
I'm remembering
Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, I'm remembering Superior as more like Shazam, like a kid.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Um,
That's which he's the wheelchair, and then he becomes superhero. Okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, and the chat is also saying that. Yay. Okay, cool. I'm
Hmm.
remembering correctly. Yes. So, but I think you're right. I've not seen Jupiter's Legacy either. Just because I haven't heard as many people talk about it as these other
Yeah,
shows. Have you seen that one? You seem like you're
I
up on
watched the
all of your
first.
media.
I try. I watched the first four episodes of that one. I couldn't do it. It was partially because I think that show, and this is something that the boys and Invincible did right, is they got right to the point.
Hmm.
Like Invincible, by the end of the first episode, you have enough threads that you can find something to latch on to.
Yeah.
And obviously, the boys has that. The boys has a very similar ending in episode one. That's like and that's the plane. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like not the really good plane scene, but another plane thing where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe this guy might not be who he thinks. Um, and from what I understand about Jupiter's Legacy, without spoiling it, although it's probably over as a show, I don't know if it got canceled, but
Hmm.
it got put on hold today. I think it like there's a big twist that probably wouldn't have worked as episode one, and I think you could tell that they were going for something, but they didn't really start with it. And everyone expected it would be the end of season one, and it wasn't. And it's like they really took their time and kind of dragged their feet on it. I
Ah,
I confused Superior with Irredeemable. That's the one I'm
gotcha.
thinking of with the Plutonian, who's another
Yes.
Dark Superman. And that one's Mark Waid. So that's like I want to say he wrote what's the other didn't he write another evil? There's so many.
There's too many. Let's
Oh, I
make
guess
it
he wrote
stop.
Kingdom Come, which is kind of almost like a reaction to Evil Superman,
Oh
where it's
yeah,
like you need a good Superman because of all this edgy '90s stuff that's leaking into comics with shoulder pads and
that's interesting.
bandoliers. Yeah,
Yeah, so many
it was a
pockets.
problem. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. That's funny. So much. I feel like all of these came out within a relatively short period of time, which
yeah.
is very, very interesting. Maybe there's a video
Do you think
there
it?
somewhere.
Do you
I
think it
don't
was
know.
like a? I want to say it was like a post 9/11 thing, but I do think culturally that was our like that was a very cynical moment in culture generally.
Uh huh.
So I wonder if it has something to do with that being because that's also when Batman Begins happened and when the dark and gritty reboot really took hold in superhero, um,
Yeah.
and especially I want to say Batman Begins might have come out the same year as Superman Returns, if not within a year or two, and it was very much a like this not this kind of thing. We don't want
Yeah.
this sweet nice Superman, although that movie has a lot of problems, but
It
um
does.
yeah, some behind and in front of the camera. But
Mm-hmm.
it's got and it's way too long. But it has a pretty earnest take on Superman. And I think more or less like Brandon Routh was great. And yeah, and I could see producers just seeing that and seeing Batman Begins and going like these are the different paths we can take, and we're taking
Mm-hmm.
the Batman Begins one.
We're taking that
Um,
one, and now
yeah,
look at us. We
yeah.
got Justice League.
We got Joker. We
We got
got all
Joker.
the Jokers, and it never ends. And they're making a new one.
In the
Yay!
future, all movies will just be referred to as Jokers, and because they're
Yeah.
all Joker movies. Oh, you guys
But
going
if
to see that
Joker
new
did fashion
Joker?
crimes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
it's a
man,
world.
it
Yeah.
sure is.
hmm
Man, so much else to talk about.
Yeah.
I want
Let's
to
talk about
know.
Danny Phantom. I like that he's a ghost. I also watched Danny Phantom a ton when I was a kid, so that's
Oh
something
yeah.
that I was like, oh yeah, I watched all
Oh
that, all
man.
those like cartoons that were on, and I think when I hear the names of them, because I don't think about them on a daily basis, but when it all comes flashing back,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh yeah, there was this character and this character, and then you go on a wiki, and it's like, oh yeah, that was the main bad guy, because I had forgotten all about um, the bad guy. What was his name? The one that was like Dracula
Oh,
or
Vlad
something.
Masters or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Vlad Plasmius, I think was
Vlad.
his name, and
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
forgotten
Yeah.
all about him. And then I was like, oh yeah, and then there was this arc where he turned kind of good or something. That show was wild.
Ah, so good.
Yeah,
That was one
really
of
fun.
those. So just to, someone did comment earlier. Cole's Clip said, when's my next video, and is it my Danny Phantom thing? It's not. My next video is not the Danny Phantom one. It will be my next video is next Friday. It's gonna be about Jimmy Olsen, which we can talk about even a little bit down the line because you had a fantastic Jimmy Olsen video a while back
Oh yeah,
that I watched and really appreciated.
that
Um,
was fun.
but no, we did get, it was a goal on Patreon to get 500 patrons to make a Danny Phantom video happen, and then as soon as I posted that, I was like, I might want to make a Danny Phantom video. I had so much support, so thank you all. If you're a patron and you're here, shout out in the chat. What's a fun emoji you can do? An octopus? I don't know. Do an octopus
Yeah.
emoji in the chat
Do
so
a
I know that you're a
what's a
patron.
good Invincible emoji? Like
That's a good one.
do a cat, an angry cat,
An angry
or
cat.
what's the who's the weirdest character in Invincible? I'm trying to think about
Oh
this, especially
man.
like just in the first season. Who's the
I
one that
do
feels like the biggest
I do
departure?
really like the big cat. What, the
Battle Cat. Yeah,
battle cat
he's
or something like
awesome.
that? So cool.
hmm
That's a fun one. Wes Robinson, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Your redeemable
Oh,
had a companion book, Incorruptible, where the big villain Max Damage breaks good because he saw the destruction of the Plutonian Unleashed.
oh, that's fun.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's very
that's
interesting.
that's way better than all the rest of this stuff. Like, kind of like I'd love to see a book like that where I guess it's kind of like a Megamind kind of thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, evil Superman turns into good Lex Luthor, and I guess we got good Lex Luthor in um, like Injustice, and that they kind of played with that idea a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
in what was the other book that had a I don't remember, but they've
Yeah.
that's an idea that they constantly come back to.
Yeah. Battle Beast is who it is. So that's people are saying it in the chat.
Battle Beast
Oh,
is great. Yeah,
that's great.
I'm
But
trying to
yeah,
think. There's that one guy who has tentacles coming out of his chest. He's kind of fun,
that's a
and
fun one.
it's just like he's a tentacle guy. You know who I love? If I had to pick one that's the dumbest, and not like dumbest, but the one that
Sure.
has the weirdest gimmick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't remember his name, but he's kind of like just a guy with a hand that's a laser. You know, he's I don't want to say he's the first episode guy that he fights, and he's just trying to do crimes with a big laser hand.
Big
Like
laser hand.
I don't see his angle. You know, he doesn't seem to be an enforcer or something. He's just like, I can rob a bank with this big laser hand, which in this universe is adorable that you think that's going to work for you. Like,
it's so good.
Yeah.
That's, and again, like going back to one of my favorite villains from Static Shock was Shiv, who had the powers just to turn his hands into weapons or something like that.
Shiv.
I
I'm trying
think
to
that was the
remember.
character's name. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Were they
chat.
like electricity hands, or was it just
No, it was just kind of like shape-shifting hands that just could turn into weapons. Mostly would turn them into machetes, so just big purple glowing machetes as hands.
Oh, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think that character's name was Shiv. From
Oh,
Static
no, you're
Shock.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But they did, the glowing I think was kind of what tricked me. He has like, it almost looks like it's like a plasma something or other. Not plasma, I guess, but yeah, like a living laser kind of thing.
Yeah.
Love him. He was one of Ebon's henchmen. That was my favorite of the villains.
Yes.
Because he had such a cool look, and like, it seems like that characters on Static Shock, besides just being fun to write, also seem like they'd be really fun to draw, because like you got guys like Shiv who are just have this really big dynamic, one big dynamic feature, and then you've got guys like Ebon who, as a like the coloring and stuff like that is pretty flat, so you can kind of play around with it. Yeah.
Very good. I mean, I talked about Static Shock. We can talk more about Danny Phantom if you want. That's gonna be a future video for me. I loved that show so much. It was one of those weird things, and I wrote this into the script and I kind of cut it out because it was taking too much time. But I realized much later in life that all of my favorite TV shows and movies were all either overtly superhero themed or just had things where characters got superpowers, even if they weren't like superpower. Like, I liked Jackie Chan Adventures because it was like they didn't get superpowers.
My favorite. I have talismans here somewhere.
They got the magic talismans that gave them powers. That's super fun. Similar to that,
which is essentially superheroes, might as well.
Hercules was my favorite Disney movie growing up, and I didn't realize why, and it's because it's basically just Superman.
Yeah, it's Superman mixed with Rocky, really weird, in really weird ways. Like, I think it was Lindsay Ellis has a great video on why Superman's kind of a big mess, but it's still pretty good as a movie, so it more or less works. And the music's dope.
Oh, the music's so good. So good. What else did I like? I talked about in the video, I think I mentioned the movie Up and Away, which is a Disney Channel original movie. Do you know what that is? I don't think I've
seen that one. No, I remember hearing you say that, and I kind of thought, because I feel like there was something else what was the new... Oh, no, I think that's maybe one of the proposed titles for like the next Superman movie, so I think I got it confused with an older Superman thing.
That would be fun if it was a proposed Superman title, because then I could make a video reviewing Up and Away, and it's about the Disney Channel movie and not a Superman thing. Oh, man. No, it's I forgot that I mentioned it because I didn't edit in any like graphics or media for it. I didn't use any B-roll for it or anything like that. So when I was talking to someone who had watched my video, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I had to Google what that was," and I was like, "Wait, I actually said that? I didn't. I thought I cut that out of the script. Apparently, I had it fully in there and edited it in, but I just didn't include any clips from the movie at all. So
What
my
is
bad.
this? I'm looking at pictures of it. It looks like the main character is just Nighthawk. Like
Yeah. Oh, what
no,
a
and because I have it right in front of me because I'm reading the Heroes Reborn right now. But like, so you got the main character on that, and then this is like what Nighthawk looks like now.
yeah.
Same face thingy, same coloring on the costume, same little hawk
Yeah.
emblem in the chest. Like
What's his name? Like the Bronze Eagle or something like that.
that
Or
sounds
the
right.
in the
I think I
movie.
may have seen this when I was a kid too, but I didn't.
I think the grandpa's name was like the Steel Condor or something like that. I don't remember, but it's very fun. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Does anyone in the chat know what I mean? What I'm talking about? Up, Up and Away, the Disney Channel original movie. I thought it was fun, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I will do a review of it. Yeah, new comics. You could also just review Up, Up and Away completely unprompted. Maybe I will. Maybe my channel
Yeah.
will just be me reviewing all of the superhero and comic book media that I liked as a kid. Who
Oh my
knows?
god. That would be if you could if you could figure out a way to make a video about stuff like Danny Phantom, but also like Jackie Chan Adventures and all of
Yeah.
those superhero like light kind of cartoons. That would be
Oh
fun.
yeah. Another one that was very similar was Shaolin Showdown. I don't know if you
I
remember.
love Shaolin Showdown.
So
Yeah, oh,
good.
absolutely. Yeah. It's
So
the same.
good.
It really is just like how many different shows could you make where a magic thing gets you superpowers and you have to collect them? Like,
It's
and
the
the
best
answer's a
story.
million.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best story in my opinion. Oh,
Yeah,
so
I love
good.
Shaolin Show. That was such a fun, and that show kind of took some turns where it's like having what they did with Raymundo. Not to spoil Shaolin Showdown for anyone, but they took some. It wasn't like I'd say Jackie Chan Adventures has
Mhm.
one turn, and then it's Toru at the end of season one turns good, and then he's there for the rest of the like
Mhm.
there forever. Everybody else that's a villain is more or less still a villain, or they quit or they were always like just in it for the money, and then when the super villain that wants to control the world comes around, they kind of need to be convinced. But Shaolin Showdown, I want to say like season 2 maybe, very late in the game, Raymundo turned evil, and then
Mhm.
that was like, and that was a wild that like really got me as a child. Do you remember the Zeta Project?
I don't
Remember that?
know what's that.
Oh, it ran at the same. Not only did it run the same time as Static Shock, they had a crossover with Static Shock at one point.
Oh,
It
wild.
was like there was like a shape shifting robot played by I want to say T. Bradley Baker, or whatever his name is, and it was
Mhm.
like a it's a kind of futuresque weapon, a little bit. I guess it's kind of Iron Giant vibe if the giant could talk and was about the size of a person. Um,
Sure.
and he like had weapons in him. I guess I don't remember too much about this. Oh, not sorry, it's Dietrich Baker. That's who I meant.
Mm.
Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
the and but yeah, this is another one of those Warner Brothers like kids WB cartoons.
That's
I'm looking at a
interesting.
list. Do you remember Mucha Lucha?
Of course I remember Mucha
Yeah,
Lucha.
Mucha Lucha was fun. Yeah, another just like superhero thing. 100%.
Yeah. Oh man, so many good ones. I remember what were they called? It was Looney Tunes superheroes. I think they were just called
Lunatics
Lunatics.
Unleashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one. I think that might have been even too much for me, or like too much for me to
Yeah.
completely latch onto. And I'm like, they did one just like that, and it might have been on the Disney Channel with the Mighty Ducks. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah,
They
the
like,
cartoons with the actual
yeah,
anthropomorphic ducks. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
cuz
that might have been where I fell off.
I'm
Yeah.
such a big fan of the Mighty Ducks movies, like the actual
Uh,
like real live action hockey movies, that when I
mhm.
watched that show as a kid, I was like this isn't what I
Yeah.
signed up for. I wanted where's Averman and where's Goldberg and where's all these other
You
characters
mean
that I like.
you mean Duke Larange, the fast talking sexy gambit duck, isn't in the movies?
He's not
You
in the
sure?
movies,
You sure it's not who Peter was
unfortunately.
playing?
That's
I
what
don't remember.
it's going to be in the next season of Game
Oh
Changers, I'm
my
pretty
gosh,
sure. Yeah.
that would be terrific.
That would be
Um,
I can't believe they don't even mention like I don't think Game Changers even makes an allusion to the idea that this cartoon series exists. Maybe they do, but like it would be so wild
Yeah.
because even the second Mighty Ducks movie, I'm super into Mighty Ducks, so I'm just gonna geek out
Hmm.
for a second. Even the second Mighty Ducks movie references the fact that there's a real life Mighty Ducks team called the
Right.
Anaheim Ducks who are in the movie canonically named after the Ducks from the first movie, even though
Oh,
in real life it's a similar situation actually where Disney just made their own hockey team called the Ducks and then
right. Yeah.
yeah, and
'Cause
that's what the
they play
Anaheim
right
Ducks
next to
turned
Disney
into.
World.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And then they have the Anaheim Ducks and the Anaheim Angels. The Angels aren't named after the movie too, because they're the baseball team, are they?
I
Or they're the
don't
Angels in the outfield team?
That's a good question. I have no idea. Was there a period when Disney was just like trying to make
Yeah,
make
just like
sports
this is the
teams for
movie.
movies?
Yeah, it's like a theme park experience now where you like go to Star Wars Land and walk around and see all the Star Wars characters. This is that, but for baseball movies where it's like you go to the Angels game and watch the Angels play, and then sometimes the characters can kind of fly, and you're like, I think that's probably heaven helping them. Implications of this universe are a little too much.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Digital Food says in the chat, "Oh no, it's become a nostalgia stream." It sure has.
Okay, we're done because I have a list of them, and that's all of them. That's all of the
Okay.
cartoons that like it was. It ends with Lunatics Unleashed, and then Scooby Doo, Shaggy and Scooby Get a Clue.
Yeah.
That was one of the last ones released right along with Legion of Superheroes, which is another really good cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Version of a like property that doesn't show up that often. Like,
No, it
although
doesn't.
is that what the Invincible? Is that what the teen team is kind of supposed to be? Because I feel like their powers feel very Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean I was for sure getting like Teen Titans and Legions of Superheroes sort of vibes from them. It's also funny to me, just in that sort of same vein, how many characters are named like a pun on their actual human real life name, like Adam
Yeah.
Eve and Duplicate
Shrinking
and
Ray and
Shrinking Ray,
yeah.
Rexplode. Like there's so many of them, and then to the point where it was very funny when Eve at the end of the season was like, "I'm Adam Eve," and no one knew. They're just like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting, fun."
Mhm.
It's like, I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
a
you
very
figure in
funny
a universe, if we lived in that universe, you would think everyone is you would have
Yeah,
you would see someone and go, "Oh, your name is Eve," even if they look nothing like it. And you'd be like, "I wonder if they can like change their appearance." And yeah, it would be a real problem.
yeah.
You'd be doxing superheroes or something. It would be it'd be a mess. Um,
Oh man.
yeah. Did you watch? You ever see the show Powers? Do you remember that show? It's like
Powers? Was that
it was the NBC like sitcom about superheroes.
was
Um,
Vanessa Hudgens in that?
that's right. Yeah.
Yes, I
I
made
never
a
watched it.
video about it actually.
Oh, did you really?
I just
I
forgot the
didn't. I
name of
haven't
the
seen that
show.
one. I think it
It's-
was called Powers. I'm not positive
I think
because
you're
there was
right.
also didn't they adapted the Powers comic as well around the same time on like PlayStation TV,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
the one where it's like what if cops had to fight superheroes.
Interesting.
But
I know
so
that there
it's a little
was
confusing.
I know that there was a lot of behind the scenes like revisions and
Oh
reshoots and
yeah,
stuff for Powers because like originally like characters were totally different and the premise was originally super different.
it was like about
And
an
then
insurance agency, right, or something like that.
yeah,
That was the pitch. Yeah.
yeah, I can't quite figure out what that would be an interesting one to. I'm sure maybe someone's done a video about it, but it wasn't a super popular show, so maybe no one has. But it would be
Hmm.
very interesting to go back to that through that history and be like, what happened with this show? Because it had
Yeah.
Ron Funches in it. It had. Did it have?
Alan Tudyk was
Yeah,
like the
Alan
bad
Tudyk was in
guy,
it.
or not the bad guy, but the boss.
Yeah. Did it also have Danny Pudi in it, or am I just misremembering?
Yeah, it did.
that?
It
Yeah.
did. It was
So
Ron Funches and him were like the techies, I think.
so like incredible cast, right?
Yeah.
So much good comedic potential there, and then just absolutely flopped because they just couldn't get
Oh
it
yeah.
together.
But the only reason
Powerless.
I brought it
That's what
up,
it's
oh,
showed.
powerless. That's what's yeah.
Yeah.
One of the plot points was there was, or one of the things I remember from maybe just the first episode, because I don't think I watched more than that, was there was a character at the office, and she believed that one of her coworkers might be Green Lantern because he looked kind of like Green Lantern, and she was like sizing him up from across the room, and like, I'm pretty sure that's Green Lantern. And like that's I feel like what we would actually do. We would
That's
be
fun.
incredibly suspicious of everyone. It would never, none of the secret identities would work.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to live in a completely different city, fly at super speed to where the superheroing goes down, and then go back just to completely avoid suspicion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think boy, we're hitting on so much good stuff here. So many shows. I feel like I've just not been able to catch up on really anything in the. I get like overwhelmed by how much like superhero nerdy stuff is out that I have to like pick and choose. And when I do have a free chance to watch something, it's like hard for me to dive into something new. So Emily and I just look at each other and we're just like, do we want to watch another Grey's Anatomy? We can do that one. That's fine. We'll watch another Grey's Anatomy.
That's what me and Hannah have been doing. We like, I watch all this superhero stuff on my own. Like, kind of, I'll wake up and watch 4 episodes of was it the Jupiter's Legacy one on my phone by myself, because I'm like, this is not. I don't want to subject her to this. And then I go watch Muppet stuff with her, and we've been going through all of the movies and stuff as almost like a night. It's not like a palate cleanser, but like as a, oh yeah, and this is like a completely different thing, and it's always good and fun.
That's good. Oh man.
Yeah, big Muppets fan.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes left, so I just wanted to turn to the chat for some questions as you guys ramp up. Questions really about anything. We talked kind of a lot about all sorts of nostalgic TV shows in the superhero space. Obviously, Invincible stuff. If you have any comments on my latest video, that could be cool as well. But whatever, we'll just kind of open it up there. I did want to say really quickly, thank you to everyone who had really positive and nice things to say after my latest video. Just because it was, parts of it were hard to open up about, and everyone's was very nice and supportive, and seeing it make an impact, a positive impact on other people's lives was very nice to hear as well. So thank you for all the nice, kind words. I appreciate it. So we will, I will say there were some, well, never mind. I was going to talk about some like, I'm trying to get better at this. I was going to talk about like, here, I want to address some negative comments on the video, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to highlight where we had good comments mostly. And I think that's great. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at.
Yeah, I've been browsing the chat real quick. One thing that I got corrected on, it was a Batman Beyond crossover with Zeta Project, not Static Shock, which makes sense because Zeta does, I believe, take place in some sort of future or whatever. And that was from This Is Nathan. So thank you, This Is Nathan. I do like, and now that I remember it, I like kind of, it makes way more sense, because also the art styles are a little bit more kind of how Batman Beyond had that like really, everybody's kind of angular, almost like DCEU or not EU, AU or whatever it's called, look, where Static Shock I feel like felt more like its own thing.
Batman Beyond's another one that I would love to make a video about, just because the whole retro future sort of vibes is very interesting, especially when you see some of the technology that they not necessarily predicted, I guess, but just sort of like were intuitive enough to kind of see where things were going. As a very small example, one that sticks out to me is the fact that they pay for everything by like sticking cards into things, and this was like before,
Oh,
obviously, well before like credit cards with chips and things in them. But I was like, that's interesting. I don't know. Obviously, I think more people are paying from phones and whatnot, but I think either way,
that
small
is
things like that.
interesting.
Let's see. We can do some rapid fire questions. Digital Foods asks, "What's your favorite pizza topping?" I enjoy mushrooms a lot. I do.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. There's a place by me that makes this pizza called the Godfather Pizza, which is one of my favorite pizzas I've ever had. It's got prosciutto, balsamic, all kinds of cheese, but like not like mozzarella, all kinds of weird crumbly cheese, and it is delicious. So I think you could probably make a decent pizza where you take a normal pizza and put a little balsamic and some prosciutto
Yeah.
on it, and it's delicious.
Oh,
But
that
yeah,
sounds good.
hard to find, hard to get a just a plain old Domino's to make probably, but worth your time if you've got the ingredients.
Let's see. We got. What do you think about Sky High? I remember liking Sky
Yeah,
High a whole lot. I
Sky
don't know if you
High.
have thoughts about it.
It felt like a Disney Channel original movie with more money, and or a pilot for a Disney Channel show. We actually did
Yeah.
this more recently on our podcast because someone won a contest because we'll do like March Madness brackets, and whoever gets the best one gets like pick something we do. And Sky High came up, and it's a pretty fun watch. That one came out right around the same time as like the original Fantastic Four movie, like the one from not the Corman original, but the
Mm.
older one. And I remember at the time being like, "Nah, this isn't like what high school's like." But then going back, I'm like, "Yeah, it's not what high school's like." But they got a lot of the superhero stuff. Like they have some fun deep cuts in there with your Coach Boomer, the Banshee pastiche played by what's his name, Bruce Campbell. Like there's just a lot of fun
Yeah.
stuff in that movie. Yeah,
Sidekick. Yeah. So
yeah.
good. Oh man. We'll do a couple more. We got some good super chats from Brian. Thank you, who just says quality work, Scott. Really appreciate it, Brian. Thank you. Emma says your videos always make me smile and cry. Thank you. I guess thank you. I hope cry in a good way. I don't want you to be like, this was so awful. I wasted my time. The most precious thing I have on this earth on this video, and it's gone now. Um,
That would be a lot if that
yeah.
was the reaction you were getting from people. It's like I wanted a 20-minute video and this was 21 minutes, and then they cried.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Um, let's see. Ugly Wizard Boy asks, "Are you excited for the Suicide Squad?" I think it looks like a lot of fun. I was also one of the few people I think who didn't hate the original. It definitely has a lot of problems, but I thought it was just so. I think it's like such a wild, ridiculous movie that I have fun watching it. But the new one looks like genuinely tons of fun.
Yeah, I think it's been my most anticipated movie of the year if you don't count like the cool artsy ones that are going to be
Yeah.
like your Green Knights and stuff. But if you're talking like tentpole movie, I think that is going to knock people's socks off. And John Cena looks like a real treat. So that character, I like a character like that where you have an actor
Mm-hmm.
who usually does one thing and they're just able to do the complete opposite of that, and you can tell they're having a lot of fun because they're getting that opportunity. So yeah, that looks great.
So much fun. I should say we're gonna just do a couple more questions, and then at the very end of this live stream, I have a teaser, a 1 minute teaser for my next video that's coming out, and I wanted to mention that because I started writing this video before the new Suicide Squad trailer came out, and I made a reference to like Starro about like, oh,
Oh,
there's this big evil starfish. Aren't comics wacky and wild? And then the Suicide Squad trailer comes out, and we get the
yeah,
big giant evil starfish, and it's like, okay, well, I should have made this video first. Like, I started writing it ages ago, and I'm finally actually
yeah.
doing it, and now it's gonna look like I'm just taking it from Suicide Squad. But you
Well,
heard it
there's
here
there's a new
first.
Starro out there. I forget what his name is. I want to say it's like Barrow, but there's a nice Starro that is
Oh, that's good.
part of the Bat family or something. So that's even wilder. I want to say he showed up like Dark Knight's Metal, or not Dark Knight's Metal, one of
Yes.
the newer things that they've been doing. So
I
yeah, he's pretty
have
fun.
seen images of this character. It's
Yeah.
very cute. Let's see. We got a couple more. Adam Barber. Hey, Adam. Asks, "Are you excited about Loki? Also, will you ever do a Ghost Rider video?" I don't know if I have any topics about Ghost Rider specifically, but if something piques my interest, absolutely. As for Loki, yeah, I'm excited for Loki. Any chance I get to watch Tom Hiddleston do anything is a good day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fun thing about Loki is that I think we have, even more so than WandaVision, definitely more than Falcon Winter Soldier, we've seen such a small like slice of what seems to be the first episode. I think that show can do a lot of things that we aren't even kind of prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just want the goddamn the frog. I want some frog source something.
Yeah.
That's all I've been asking for from that show, because I think we could put it in the movies, but I doubt they'll have time for it. But yeah, I want something weird like that.
I do too. It would be very fun to see something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this show in particular has that ability to just kind of do all sorts of weird stuff. I feel so.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it loose. We're gonna have fun with it. But I think that might do it for this live stream. Thank you so much for joining, everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining. Do you want to plug? You want to plug your
Absolutely.
channel where people can find
Sure,
you?
yeah. Channel on YouTube and pretty much everywhere. So if you like on Twitter or TikTok or whatever, it's Nando V Movies. I make videos about comic books and movies, and a lot of the time it's making a change or something to a recent thing. As these Marvel shows like Loki have come out, I've kind of been shifting a little bit of my focus to talking about them. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can find me wherever you watch videos or intake content. I watched the Bo Burnham special, and I've just been saying the word content way more than I usually do. And then I have a podcast called Mostly Nitpicking, where that's like a long form. We talk about whatever the movie of the week is. Like we just put out a Cruella video, and that's on all the podcasting apps. So that's a lot of fun too. But
Very, very
that is
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
you've put out some very good Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff lately about
oh yeah, that was
Sharon,
fun. And
about
what's his name? The Malcolm. What's his name? I want to say Malcolm Jenkins. That's a football player. The person that made Falcon and Winter Soldier. He didn't necessarily respond to the video, but I think someone showed it to him or something, where
oh
I
yeah,
said that they had a pandemic story or something that they cut. Yeah,
yeah.
he had a comment that was like, "That's how it was," and I'd like to believe that that's because it got to him. And if that's true, Malcolm, I'm so sorry. Let me write your show for you. That would be cool for you to do. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a lot of fun. Love talking. Invincible in comics, but also Danny Phantom Shaolin Showdown. That's a real blast from the
Who
past.
thought that was going to be on the menu today?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, let's play you this little teaser for my next video, everyone. I hope you like it, and we'll just be right back after that, just to say some final goodbyes, and then we're gonna end the stream. But for now, let's watch a teaser for my next Nerd Sync video coming out next Friday. Here we go. So, I spend a lot of time working on the thumbnails for my YouTube videos. Sometimes I spend entire days of work trying to get the colors just right and make sure the images I use are attention grabbing, and overall just trying out different ideas until I think it's good enough, I guess. And if looking at my YouTube analytics has taught me anything, it's that I'm an ugly crier. And that a lot of you who watch my videos are already subscribed, which is great, thank you for doing that, but it also means that I'm not reaching many new people, at least not as many as I could be. And the way to reach new viewers is by making eye-catching thumbnails. They're the very first thing that people see before they decide to click on a video, and clearly, I need help designing some. Something that can really pull people in. And I think I know where to look. And that's it. That's the little teaser. I hope you are excited for that, everybody. Once again, that video will be coming out next Friday. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate it. And thank you again. Go subscribe to Nando V Movies on YouTube. Links in the description. Such good stuff. Such good content, as they say.
Yeah, that is what the kids say these days. Everybody says it.
Yeah. Until next time, and we're going to be doing these live streams every other week. So we'll see you in the next live stream, see you in the next video, all that good stuff. I'm just going to play this very ending video, and then we are out of here. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this live stream. I hope you had fun. I know that I did. If you don't want to miss any future live streams we'll be doing on this channel, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of them. In the meantime, I've got a bunch of videos on this channel that I would love if you checked out. I'll have some playlists linked below in the description. But until next time, my name is Scott, reminding you to read between the panels and grow smarter through comics. See ya.